Hello again, I'm Steve Raible, and here's what's happening at 7:30. From writing to performing to recording, the music business is big business. And whether you knew it or not, it's getting bigger all the time right here in the Puget Sound area. The sweet sound of music and the sweet smell of success in this edition of 7:30. We'll begin with a Seattle man who is turning up the volume on the recording industry. Ever heard of Bad Animals? Well, it's a new state-of-the-art recording studio in Seattle that will soon draw some of the top artists in the world. Steve Lawson made it happen, and again, he's made a lot of things happen all his life. As Monica Hart tells us, he's a hard driver and someone you should know.
A lot of people tell me how wonderfully I've done. They don't see the other side of the ledger. This isn't a get-rich-ever proposition, I don't think. Owning a recording studio isn't as smart as, starting a software company.
All right, so he's not Bill Gates. But Steve Lawson may one day be to the recording industry what Gates is to computer software.
It was a really live room. It was meant to accommodate about 60 musicians. So we've had one symphony orchestra. We had 49 people in here at one point. But it's real bright and live. Like if you clap your hands, you can hear how nice the sound disperses. It doesn't slap. It doesn't really echo.
Welcome to Studio X, a $2.2 million joint venture between Lawson and Ann and Nancy Wilson of Hart.
They wanted to stay home as badly as we wanted to attract major rock bands from here and from around the country. So they, their dream and my dream sort of collided one day, and Studio X became a reality.
1, 2, 3.
Yes, it's a long way from his first studio in the furnace room of his parents' Seattle home. Lawson has always been chasing his dreams and willing to put in the work.
I wanted to be a radio guy from the time when I was 7, 8 years old. And for some reason, just the magic of being on the radio and entertaining people sounded wonderful to me.
Lawson and a cousin scavenged parts, built a makeshift radio station, broadcasted throughout the Lawson home, then to the neighborhood. They found a way.
How many people do you figure probably listened back then?
Oh, I bet we had, during the peak periods, we probably had 5 or 6 listeners.
Wow.
That was a big deal. I can remember going to watch Pat O'Day broadcast from the center of the Coliseum with probably, at that time it seemed like this mammoth crowd. There's probably 30 kids just staring at him, and I remember how cool it was that he'd take off his sport jacket when he got there and lay it over the boom of his microphone, and it was like, I want to do that one day.
And with hard work, he did. Went by the name Scott Terry back then, got his big break at King AM. But then Lawson's career took a turn. He left the air, took over as radio production director at King. He was all of 23, but a clash with management prompted Lawson to move on.
So we found 1,200 square feet of unrentable space in a building on 6th Avenue. It was unrentable because it had no windows in it, which made it perfect for a recording studio. And Lawson Productions was born.
Actually, it wasn't quite that easy. They told him he was crazy. Lawson had used the equity in his home to secure a bank loan. His wife Debbie ran the front office. Lawson ran just about everything else. Eventually outgrew the old space, moved Lawson Productions to the old Kate Smith studios a few blocks away.
Do you know how to work much of the equipment these days?
Not anymore. I know this is a fader.
Tomorrow's going to be a really big day.
I'm going to go ahead and stop you.
Okay.
On that one of the biggest days ever, why don't you kind of, really warm it up and really make it a big day.
Okay.
You can pick it up from there. Let's just take 4.
Lawson is more at home producing commercials in one of his smaller studios.
I liked it a lot, and
Okay.
I think it'll even fit. We'll edit it, and it'll be great. Thanks.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Bye.
No problem.
Okay, if you're ready, let's give this one a try. This is Franklin Roosevelt, and that number is 55 years ago.
What Franklin Roosevelt said 55 years ago.
And Lawson is still very much at home in front of a microphone. But owning a world-class recording studio isn't a bad gig if you can get it. Seldom satisfied, Lawson talks of the dream he'll likely chase next.
Well, we have a parking garage right next to the other facility, and the Studio Y would look great in there one day.
Steve Lawson, a Northwest success story. Bad Animals Studio X, by the way, is up and running with recording commitments from Hart and REM. Other top artists are expected to follow.